Today's a little video clip. We're going to take a look at creating lookup columns in SharePoint. The lookup columns fit into a bigger picture for me when it comes to reusable content. So that's content that you can reuse in other places as well, or reuse, other sites maybe even. And I always joke about the Maslow's hierarchy of reusability. So in this image, you'll see that I refer to the lowest level being single line of text. Then I have choice, then I have lookups, then I have site columns, and then I have terms. So we've already looked at single line of text and we've already looked at choice fields. So single line of text, of course, is going to be tricky because people can type in whatever they want. So choice is already a first good choice when it comes to columns, because you can decide what they must pick. But once you've set up a choice list, you can only use it on that app. You'll have to recreate it again on other apps. So the third one then would be lookups. And let's take a look on how to create that. So first things first is that when I go to site contents, I'm going to create a little custom list for that lookup. So think of a little drop-down column. Think of data validation in Excel, works exactly the same. So let's add an app, and I'm going to call this the process, for example, just for not using the same list as what I've used already. The name is short enough, so I'll definitely be able to use that. So there's our little process list. Let's go to the process list and populate the drop down that we actually want to see. So if I go to quick edit, I'll then be able to add different titles. So I'm going to be using departments actually, but I'm just pulling them processes for now. So human resources, we're going to go for information technology. I'll be doing operations, payroll, procurement, and sales. Very important when you create little lists for lookups, go and create a view to always display the list alphabetically. So I'm going to go to settings, list settings, and at the bottom of the page, I'm going to create a view. I'm going to call it my lookup view. I'm going to make it the default view. And this is what's important. I always sort by title. So then you know the titles in the drop down will always be alphabetically. And then also important is set your item limits to show more than 30 if you have more than 30 options, of course. So there's my view created. Now, once this little list is created, separate little app, I can add it on any of my apps on current sites. So if I go to the specific FAQ list and I go to list settings, I can add that drop down. So you'll see by create columns, you'll see one of them's lookup. Lookup only looks to current lists on current site, any lists, okay? So I'm going to call this process. And here I'm going to go and select the list that I want to use. So remember, I called it process. And very importantly, make sure that as soon as the page refreshes, it points to the title column, not to the ID. So there we go. I've added this list on my FAQs. Which means that if I fill in a new FAQ now, you'll see that I have a process column there. And this actually comes from a separate app with that drop down. It doesn't sit on this list as a choice. I can do exactly the same on another document library on the same site. So if I go to the library settings on this document library and I want to add that same column, create column. So I'm not creating a choice. I'm creating a lookup. I'm going to call it process. So I've chosen lookup. I'm picking the process list, separate app, and I'm making sure that it's pointing to title. So this means that on existing site, I can create one little lookup list and use it in various apps, which also means I only have to update that list in one place, not on all the choice columns on all the lists and apps that I've created. There you can go, you can see there's the little drop down that I'm using. So you can then have a little administrative couple of lists in the background, which is all your lookup lists. I normally rename them so that all my lookup lists lie together. So there is my lookup list, and it feeds a lot of different apps on my site. So lookup lists, definitely, if it's content that you'll reuse on the existing site, best thing ever to do is a lookup list. Chat to you soon.